watching the Tom Laipply podcast.
Everybody back up. Charles, back up.
Wow.
Get over here, too. That's the crack already 4 foot.
Yep. Okay, let's go back. Juanita. Wow. Juanita, move back. Yeah. Connor, come back further.
Next time we close the road down, we're going
Holy crap. Wait up. As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights. And frankly, how would they feel if some other country decided that they were going to just start throwing people randomly in our country? Like that is absolutely insane. So yes, all I got to say is y'all need to get these fools out of here. But
under his reckless leadership is that costs aren't going down in America. They're going up. Inflation is going up. The stock market is going down. Consumer confidence is going down. And the retirement security of the American people is going down. This is not Liberation Day in America. It's Recession Day, because Donald Trump's reckless policies are driving us toward a painful recession.
You expected some of this, but this is better than expected?
Yeah, Sarah, it is. Look, this jobs market is like the Energizer Bunny. Every single time we expect it to run out of steam, it just keeps going and going. So these new numbers show that the U.S. economy added 147,000 jobs in June. That was well ahead of the expectation of about 118,000, well ahead of some whispers that we heard on Wall Street of a sub 100,000 number. So this is indeed beating expectations. We were also expecting a slowdown. We did not get that. This is basically in line with May, which was revised higher. It's also good news. The unemployment rate was expected to go up. It didn't. It went down to 4.1%. That is a very healthy number. This is still relatively historically low. And again, it's below the 4.3% that we...
Yeah, there you go. Y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
We applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We
T-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing, he'd be sweating.
Everything we have, if we don't take down the deep state in the next 3.5 years on Trump's watch, we're screwed. with all the things we have to, because you look at the kinetic part of the Third World War in Ukraine and the Middle East, at the heart of it's the deep state driving this. We have to take it apart. The Kennedy revelation is a bombshell. The CIA, which we've said for years, now they admit that Angleton and all of them looked you in the eye, went to Congress, they were under subpoena. Forget the Warren Commission. That was a crime scene itself, the Warren Commission, between the FBI and the CIA. The great institutions in this country that people depended upon looked you in the eye and lied to you because of their actions, the covering up of their actions. This is why the devolution of the United States of America, you can take one day, 22 November 1963, boom.
With the ice raised. If ICE shows up, do not resist, claim your rights. Know your rights, shh, stay silent. Request a lawyer. Todos unidos, jamás seremos vencidos. Stay safe.
All right, Monday night, and we are live. I don't think anybody's watching, but Monday night, and we are actually live because Rumble appears to be having some kind of meltdown. But anyway, it's not us. So you don't send us messages. Got nothing to do with us. It's Rumble. For some reason, they're even on my screen completely frozen right now, so I have no idea what their problem is. But anyway, let's just hop right to it because I don't know who's watching. Everybody's even on Rumble right now. So let's just switch. Let's just go right to the first one. Pick from the New York Post. Of course, we're going to have to talk about Epstein. Let's let the New York Post lead it off. Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a client list. Hey, that's a new thing, huh? So we've been waiting for Aaron. I've been asking Aaron just about every podcast, how's that Epstein flight log looking? Well, it turns out there's no need to even look because there is no client list. By the way, that's two different things. There's a client list and there's actually a flight log. So there's two different things, but I guess none of it's available. I mean, I guess Marsha Blackburn asking Tricky Dicky Durbin over the last 4 years of 15 days to flatten the curve, where exactly is the Epstein flight log? I guess there's no need to even ask that because according to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, their client list doesn't even exist. So he actually conducted a business for all of these years, for actual decades, he conducted a business and had absolutely no client log whatsoever. Pam Bondi herself, both in interviews and in a hidden camera footage by OMG, James O'Keefe, she actually says that Jeffrey Epstein is on video committing crimes. So we know that. And that there was, I think she said 200 plus videos. So my own thing is, so there's no evidence of anybody on these videos to actually create your own client list. There may not be some sort of organized client list, but there certainly is a list of clients. It's on the video. Those videos don't have the black boxes over them so you can't tell who everybody is. Those are actual evidentiary videos. So there's actually clients there no matter what. And by the way, there is an actual client list. And we're being lied to as usual. Nothing has changed. People might think, maybe Trump has some 4D motives. I mean, maybe he's got 4D motives. Alex Jones is espousing that possibly he's using the lack of transparency when it comes to the Epstein flight logs, the Epstein client list. Again, those are two different things. You have the flight logs and you have the client list, and neither one of them, Aaron, let me just check with you. Has any of that been released?
No.
Okay, I'm just checking because here we are. You had the number completely wrong the other day by a lot. By the way, it's like we are at 150. You were way off.
Yeah, I know. When I looked it up,
when I saw it, I'm like, that's not right.
No.
But I couldn't question you. So I mean, I don't know where we're at. Something like, I don't know, 160 days in, right? That's where we're at. And nothing has been released. Now, there's a reason why. It's either nefarious, it's either criminal, or it's Trump using it. Trump is using this list to manipulate foreign entities, which really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense because we're getting manipulated by Israel, which is obviously behind Epstein, along with the CIA and MI6 are all behind, and probably other various entities because there's no way that Jeffrey Epstein was double agent. I mean, he wouldn't be working for the Russians too, would he? Of course he is. He's working for anybody who will pay him to honeypot somebody. It's as simple as that. And everybody knows it because the world is not full of black and white hats. It doesn't work that way. It is never going to work that way. You need to listen to the message, last 2 messages here at Foundation Church that I preached. It is either the spirit of the world, which includes the spirit of the Antichrist, which is carnality, which will end up being embodied in a human called the beast. It's either the spirit of the world, which is a Christless world. That includes most Christians, by the way, are actually Christless. Actually, Jesusless Christians. They've just made up their own version of Jesus and worship a golden idol that's actually Baal or any other idol you want to name. But anyway, so it's either the spirit of the world or it is the spirit of Christ. And that is it, the Holy Ghost. That is it. And a lot of these white people think are white hats. They're not white hats. They're actually people who are conservatives, but are in it for their own purposes. They're in it for their own profit. Not every single person is like that. There are people who have altruistic motives, even inside of the world system, but they are very few and far between. So this is purposely not being released, and you and I are being lied to over and over and over again for 160 some odd days of the Trump administration. And all of us are sick and tired of it. That they're going to actually trot out the FBI with Bongino and Patel and Pam Bondi, who is getting more and more nauseating. I tried to be nice. You know, I always try to be nice. Always. But I never thought that she was a great pick. I don't like what Gates did. I wonder what they have on Gates to make him step down. Because he stepped down awfully quickly. He should have gone through the process and get people on. You need to always get people on the record voting against you, so we can then hold it against them for voting against you. And that's what Gates should have done, but he didn't for whatever reasons those are. So anyway, so suddenly, I mean, Aaron, you remember the videos? We got the Bondi videos. We played them. The client list was on her desk. I mean, she said it was on her desk. She was digging deep into that thing, and she was going to release something tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's always going to be release something tomorrow. Let's go to the next one. Dissident media. So here is Patel versus Patel. Play it for me.
I'm not saying it's not there. Who are you going to get to get that?
For instance, who is currently holding, this is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is,
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. Yeah. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Well, I guess that's good. So I guess that's here you have cash versus cash. He's asked by Benny Johnson going back to front. He's asked, why wouldn't anybody release that list? Because of the people who are on the list. Well, why are you releasing it now? Because of the people who are on the list. And you've decided that you're going to be another deep state actor. Nothing is changing. And you're like, no, Trump has done good things. You know, I agree. He's done good things. But he's doing good things and still spending us into oblivion while he does good things. So we're going going into greater debt, but we're spending it on good things. So even though basically what that is instead of, let's see, shoveling manure on the deck of the Titanic, which would be basically all of us would be shoveling or eating manure on the deck of the Titanic because Kamala is president. Kamala is president. Aaron, give me one.
Kamala.
There you go. So if Kamala was president, we'd all be on the deck of the Titanic shoveling poop. And now we're on the deck of the Titanic sipping champagne. Still the Titanic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, something's got to change. Nothing's changing. Still spinning us into oblivion. Aaron, you got that clock?
Yep.
What's changed? 160 days in. What's changed? Tell me what's changed. I mean, I'm just curious. What's changed? We still don't know what's going on with Epstein. We have no idea. You know, Alex Jones thinks it's 4D chess. I hope Alex is right most of the time. I hope he's right on this one. But nothing's changed. We're just spending it on good stuff, I guess. You know what you do when you don't have any money? You don't spend it on good stuff. I would love to buy things. There's things that I would love to buy, but I don't have the money for those things. I have plenty of money. I'm not a poor man. I'm just telling you, you know what? I do well. But the thing is, I'm not a multi-millionaire or anything like that. There's things I'd like to buy, though, but I don't buy them for a reason. Like, I honestly would love to live alone. Not in a house alone, but not in a neighborhood. Like, just on 100 acres where I never see another human being until I roll into church. Because I like to do people on a come-and-go basis. You know, I mean, that's how I like to do people. Like, I don't like to deal with, neighbors, doing whatever they're doing. So I would love to do that. But right now, in Florida, I don't have the money to buy a 100-acre ranch. So you know what I don't do, Aaron?
Buy a 100-acre ranch?
I don't buy a 100-acre ranch.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. And by the way, I can't because I can't print the money to do it.
True.
But the government can. So we just passed. I mean, just the big, beautiful bill puts us another $2.3 trillion in debt. I don't care what Bessett says, that they are going to, that the revenue is going to overcome the debt and deficits. The tax revenue that's brought in, basically the profit off of the economy is going to, the increased revenue is going to offset the deficits and deficits. Aaron, you ever heard that one before?
All the time.
Every single time I hear it. And I'm just going to sit here for all of because I've been disqualified as a MAGA guy. Tom, you're fake MAGA. I'm just wondering now. Here's my thing. We'll go and just leave this up, Aaron. I'm just wondering, for all those now, like Laura Loomer, who don't believe what Pam Bondi said, that there is no client list. All of you neocon MAGA morons who called me fake MAGA, now that the Epstein list is on the table and Donald Trump's administration is saying that the client list doesn't exist, and you're saying that it does, you know what that makes you now? You're fake MAGA. You're a fake MAGA moron. That's what you are now. Because you don't agree. I thought you have to sycophantically believe, Cat Turd. You're one of the worst. You're apropos named Cat Turd. Because I guess now Cat Turd is now, is he going to equivocate now? He's going to say, oh, we never cared about Epstein to begin with, because that's what's all over Twitter now.
Yeah.
Oh, this was never a priority to begin with. Oh, that's not what you said a minute ago, Cat Turd. And all the rest of the turds that are out there that decided, like Laura Loomer, they're going to put together a blacklist of all the fake MAGA people because we were against the Iranian strike. But now that Pam Bondi said that there's no client list whatsoever from Jeffrey Epstein, and you don't agree, I guess you're fake MAGA now too, right? So join the club, fake MAGA. I hope everybody applies the same rules to themselves that they apply to everybody else, or you are a freaking hypocrite, a disgusting freaking hypocrite. I just want, and I've got some examples of that. And Kash Patel is the worst of the worst right now. He just said a minute ago, remember, here it is. They have the Nashville Manifesto. I'm going to add a few things to what he said. The Nashville Manifesto is in the personal possession of the director of the FBI. Hunter Biden laptop is in the personal possession of the director of the FBI. And the Epstein list is in the personal possession of the FBI. That is what Kash Patel said. So, and he said, Republicans, what the H are you doing not releasing it? Well, I'm asking you the same thing without the H. Kash, why are you not releasing it? I'm just curious. Why not? Because everybody is equivocating, and what everybody's doing is counting the cost. Who's on that list? You should never be counting the cost when it comes to telling the truth. Whoever is on the list, if they're on the list. That is the way that it is. And if they're wrongly on the list, then that'll be proven that they're wrongly on the list. Dershowitz sued, and the person confessed that, according to Dershowitz, and people can argue back and forth, but he actually took litigious action, and he sued the person who said he was on the list. And the person who said he was on the list backtracked and said, no, that's not him. It was mistaken identity. I don't care whether you believe it or not. That's what happened. That's what happened. I'm not saying Dershowitz. I'm not a fan of Dershowitz. Dershowitz said that we all need to be pinned down and forcibly vaccinated. Not a fan. And I'm just curious, too, when it comes to the fake MAGA thing. All of you that were against Operation Warp Speed, you know what you are? You're fake MAGA. You're a big fake MAGA neocon moron. That's what you are. Because you were against Operation Warp Speed, which disqualifies you because if you're not going to sycophantically follow Donald Trump as if he's the second coming of Jesus, then you are fake MAGA. So you were against that. So that means you're fake MAGA like me because I was against the Iranian strike. And I'm only talking, this has nothing to do with whether you're pro or against the Iranian strike. It has to do with how you acted about each. That's it. Someone like me, I was against the Iranian strike. I didn't go to everybody who was for the Iranian strike and said, you're disqualified as MAGA. No, you're for it, okay? I disagree with you. I believe that you are wrong, okay? But I think Trump and the military pulled off an excellent strike, and I believe they did decapitate the Iranian nuclear ability but for months, but not for years. But, I mean, that's what the whole point was. Trump did what he said he was going to do, and which he always does for the most part. But this is one of those things. He said he was going to release it, but he was hesitant about releasing it. If you remember the interview, he was hesitant. He wasn't hesitant about releasing anything else. But by the way, nothing else is being released either. No. Where's RFK? I mean, JFK stuff has come out today. I've got some of that. The CIA has now admitted that they were basically behind the operation. Beautiful. All right, let's go to the next one, wherever I'm at. Bannon's War Room video. Here's Tom Fitton, Judicial Watch. It's hard to understand what's going on at DOJ and FBI leadership. Play for me.
I got to wonder what is going on at the leadership of the Justice Department and the FBI to allow them to think that statements like as follows. This is a classic. Of course, we're suing for this stuff, right? And so they say the systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So there's a client list, but it's not incriminating, so therefore you can't see it. There is also no credible evidence that found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. Well, give us the incredible evidence. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So they uncovered evidence, but it wasn't enough to predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So you can go line by line and kind of, go through this analysis that I'm going through. It may be unfair or overly critical, but in my view, unless you have the records to back up the conclusions you've drawn in a case such as this, this isn't worth much.
Well, Tom, what are you worried about? Tom Fitton, what are you worried about? Aaron, what are you worried about? Brent, what are you worried about? I mean, Bongino's read the file. No. Of course, that was written by James Donaghy, but I mean, who got removed from the FBI for refusing to turn over evidence. Remember, I mean, again, nobody ever gets this stuff unless you're a cop. Do you know what your options are when it comes to turning over evidence? None. None. There's no option, or you're committing a crime. You're going to be fired. It's called tampering. You can't take a bag of cocaine off somebody. Brent, that was a little bit before your time, but he was probably dealing with another layer of drugs after this. But the crack cocaine epidemic that happened in the early 90s, you didn't take crack off of somebody and then ride around with it in your police car. No, you turned it in. You turned in the property. It goes into property. There's a chain of custody. That's what you do. James Donaghy was refusing to turn in evidence. And that's why he got fired. Remember, he gave himself his own little ceremony walking out of the FBI building in the Southern District of New York, gave himself bagpipes. Remember that? And his wife and his daughter all sitting there. All he is a disgraced, repulsive liar, but yet he celebrates himself leaving. And all he was doing was tampering with evidence, refusing to turn it over to the DOJ, refusing to turn it over to his own boss, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. And then what happened? They had a semi-truck full of this evidence. There's nothing. There's nothing to look into. There's not one person to try. Nobody. There's nobody to try. Nobody at all. Not one person. There's not one person outside of Ghislaine Maxwell that's going to go to prison for the rapes of hundreds and hundreds of underage girls. I mean, I'm just curious. Nobody else is going to prison. I mean, I find that to be unbelievable. And we're expected to swallow this like a giant horse pill. And if I wasn't a Christian, it'd be a way more disgusting comment than that. And like people think, well, it's 4D chess. Trump is using it for manipulation. I don't know, folks. I don't know. Because if it was, we'd be manipulating Israel. We certainly aren't. We're being manipulated by Israel again, over and over and over again. All right, let's go to the next one. Gateway pundit tweet. Bombshell caught. DOJ caught. That's weird. Here's another edited video. Just like outside the DNC with the bomb, with the pipe bomb. Remember the pipe bomb with the egg timer on it? We're all supposed to believe is real. Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Where are the arrests on the pipe bombing?
None.
None. Okay. I mean, 160 days and not one thing's happened with the pipe bomb.
Weird.
Okay. I mean, nothing. Not one thing. They claimed. Remember that there was no. Just leave this up. That there was no cell phone evidence, and then they found out that all the cell phone evidence was actually there, and the FBI was lying about it. So that went right into the hands of Patel and Bongino, and nothing's happened in 160 days. Not one thing. You know why? Because probably the people behind it would be too politically damaging to arrest them. So you know what that makes us? A third world banana republic, where if it was Brett that did it, or Aaron, or myself that did it, or you, we'd all be in federal prison. But if it's the right person committing crimes, no consequence whatsoever. That you might as well live in Muammar Gaddafi's Libya. I mean, that's the whole thing. You might as well, before Hillary Clinton unceremoniously executed him for no reason. But she's walking free too. Yep. I mean, we have the Clinton files. I mean, we have them. None of her stuff is past the statute of limitations. Aaron, what's the latest on Clinton being arrested?
Nothing.
Okay, I'm just curious. Nothing. How about Fauci?
Nope.
Okay, Francis Collins?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious. All the people that perpetrated the lie?
Yep.
How about Ralph Barrick?
No.
Peter Daszak?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious because it's now become painfully obvious that COVID-19 was created at the UNC laboratories by Ralph Barrick. He then taught the Chinese how to do it, transported it over to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It escaped from there at the military games, the World Military Games that were held in. Let me see, what city was that again? Let me see, what city was that again? Oh, Wuhan, China. That's where it all began, and it was actually created by our own laboratories. It actually had little outbreaks before that. So, I mean, I'm just curious, why are any of these people in prison 160 days in? Oh, because of the political consequences of putting them in prison. You're not, listen, all I'm saying is try them. Why can't you fill out a probable cause affidavit? Why? Why can't you submit charging documents against these people and then see what happens? The odds of them ever being convicted are slim and none, because it's going to go to, some of these cases are going to be tried in D.C. under Tanya Shukin and all the rest of the charlatan morons that are up there, and Jeb Bosbergs of the world that hold those seats. But anyway, so back to Epstein. Bombshell. DOJ caught. Just like the manipulated video of the DNC bomber. Manipulated. They cut off every single angle that could actually identify the person. Why would you do that? It looks like a low-qual video, but it's not super low-qual. It's actually manually done. Somebody was running the video. Was actually running the camera. It's a toggle switch. You run that camera, and they have everything, and they cut that off. Aaron, has that been resolved? Anything on the video being edited from the DNC bomber? Nothing. Not one thing. Nobody's been tried. Nobody's been convicted. How about just an investigation? Any of that?
No.
Okay, I'm just checking. I'm saying Aaron looks at the news too, so I'm just wondering maybe he saw something that I didn't see.
Nope.
So here we have another manipulated video. And what's Bongino and Patel doing about it? Nothing. Squat. Nothing. They're doing nothing. Nothing's being done. Every now and then we hear an op about them finding 60 kids. I've got all that. I never get to it all. 60 kids were found. I'm just curious, how is it that 60 kids are found? Like, where are their parents? I mean, a lot of these are not just illegal alien children. I'm like, where's the reunion videos after all these 60? I mean, we live in a very corrupt, weird, dark world. We really do. We really do. So here we are. Bombshell, DOJ, caught cutting 60 seconds from newly released Epstein 10-hour jail cell video. But don't worry, Aaron. Don't worry, Brett. Don't worry, everybody watching. We were assured, remember, and Brett could tell, Aaron could tell too. Anybody could tell. Anybody with half a brain could tell, okay? I'm just using Brett as an example because he's done a lot of interrogations as a detective in the Cincinnati area. When somebody's lying, you know they're lying if you're a cop. You know they're freaking lying. Especially when honest people lie. I mean, there's people that get to be charmers and they could fool everything but the box, the polygraph. But Bongino and Patel have been too honest too long. and you could tell they're lying. That, that Epstein killed himself. We've looked at the file. The file written by Maureen Comey. That file? Is that the one you're talking about? Maureen Comey, who tried both Ghislaine Maxwell and P. Diddy, and they both basically got off. You're like, Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison. She's in a cushy little prison. She is, and probably will be released at some point if a Democrat comes into office, and P. Diddy's going to get nothing for all intents and purposes. For heinous crimes. Absolutely heinous crimes. But here we are again. And Bongino said, we looked at all the video. Well, now it turns out the video has been released. There's 60 seconds have been cut from it. And 60 seconds is a very long time on video. All right, go to the next one for me. X alerts. Here's the 60 seconds being cut. Play it for me. So you saw it with your own eyes right there. It's been cut. Why? Why would the video ever be cut? Why? I'm just curious. We had, I don't know if it's all back in place yet. Some of our, we have surveillance around the building that I'm sitting in right now. You know how much of that we've cut? None. Why would I cut the video? Why? I'd have to, not only this, but you'd have to go and find someone like Aaron to do it.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to find somebody, you're going to have to bring them into the crime of tampering with evidence and pay them off, obviously, because they're going to rat you out when the pressure's on, unless you pay them off significantly. So you're going to have to bring them in, and you're going to have to then enlarge your corpus of criminality, because now you've included another person. You have to bring a tech expert in that can cut the video like that. You can still tell, though. Even if Aaron does it, you can still tell.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's got a timestamp on it. It's got a freaking timestamp.
It's as good as it can look, but I'm sorry, there's a minute missing. Why? But don't worry, Dan Bongino said that he knows that it was a suicide.
Oh.
I mean, everybody was asleep. All the cameras were off, all at the right time. He's on suicide watch, but for some strange reason, off suicide watch and put into a cell with a dangerous person. That's weird. I mean, it's just very odd, isn't it? And no evidence whatsoever of suicide when it was, I can't remember the name of the board-certified world-renowned pathologist. Some of you might remember his name back earlier on. I could remember, but I can't now. But anyway, when he did it, he's like, there's no evidence that this was a suicide, because normally this type of injury would not be present, because he had bones broken in his neck. That will only happen if you're being strangled to death by manual strangulation by hands, which, by the way, is exactly what Derek Chauvin didn't do, and he got put in prison for 22 years. This is a system that we all live in, and people are oblivious to it because they have a normalcy bias, and they don't realize that this could come up and snatch them at any time. You get a corrupt prosecutor, corrupt police officer, whatever, who's going to stop you from being prosecuted? Well, the exculpatory evidence. Who's going to put the exculpatory evidence in? I mean, there's all kinds of exculpatory evidence for Alex Jones in his case, General Flynn in his case, Stone in his case, Navarro, Bannon, Rudy Giuliani. Plenty of exculpatory. I mean, you look at Rudy Giuliani's case against Ruby Freeman. I mean, you look at that case where he alleged that she fed the same ballots into the same machine over and over again, and there's a video of her doing it, and that wasn't allowed into the trial. Now he owes her $48 million, and he's worth $10 million. Alex Jones is basically worth $100,000. It's true. He's paid off his stuff. He's living a decent life, but he's bankrupt because they have $1 billion settlement. They went after actually tried to get Alex Jones to have to pay him $1 trillion. That's not a joke, by the way. And Alex Jones' entire life, what they accused him of, is all on video, and he didn't do one thing. He didn't do any of what they said, but that wasn't allowed in the trial. The judge actually declared him guilty before the jury trial began. That's an absolute fact, by the way.
Yeah.
The one in Connecticut actually said that he was guilty before the trial. That's not legal. Well, then they are going to come in, Tom, and fix it all. Who's the they that's going to come in and fix it all? I'm just curious, because that's what everybody thinks. Maybe not those of you that are watching, but that's what everybody thinks. There's video evidence that exonerates me from the crime. Well, they'll just suppress the evidence. They'll not let it in trial. And then magically, just like all this Epstein evidence, it'll just disappear. There's no client list. What about the 200 videos, Pam Bondi? You have the guy banging underage girls on. You have 200 of them, at least. And we know it's thousands. You have 200 of them banging underage girls. You can't find out who that guy is? He's on the flight log. Aaron, get the flight log out.
I can't.
Oh, you can't.
I don't have it.
That's right. That's
Thanks,
weird.
Cash.
160 some odd days then.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it? All right, go to the next one for me. Wherever that guy am. Gateway pundit. The FBI claims Epstein didn't have a client list, but what about the speed dial list of the names in Epstein's bedroom uncovered by O'Keefe Media and Group? That's gone too.
Oh.
No, that doesn't exist either, I guess. So can we see that? Aaron, can you check and see, have the names on Jeffrey Epstein's speed dial list been released?
Let me look real quick. Nope.
No. Flight log?
Nope.
Client list?
No.
Okay, 160 days then.
Yeah, no.
Okay. It's weird. It's almost like we're getting the exact same FBI that we had under Christopher Wray. Wouldn't you think? Go to the next one for me. Here's Owen Schroyer's opinion. Do you think it's a coincidence that the Epstein file stopped existing the day before Netanyahu lands in D.C. to meet with Trump, who I think is the one pulling the trigger on all this?
Yeah.
That Trump is being puppet mastered by, as usual, Israel. Over and over and over again. Here we go. For some reason, everybody has to appease Israel. Why? Because of Genesis chapter 12? That has nothing to do with the nation of Israel. It had to do with Abram even before he was Abraham. I mean, what are people thinking? I mean, God himself puts them into exile. God himself doesn't bless them, and we're supposed to bless them in the midst of doing evil things? And the thing is, again, it doesn't mean that I'm against Israel in every scenario. I'm against Israel when you should be against Israel, and I'm for Israel when you should be for Israel. Listen, again, it's akin to, were we all super pro-America when Joe Biden was running the show? No, we were very questioning. Well, that's how you should be with every nation, including our own. We questioned everything. But Netanyahu requests a war. He gets it. I don't know if I'll remember all the names. He got one in Sudan. He got one in Libya. He got one in Iraq. He gets them in Lebanon. He gets every war. Syria. He gets all of them. There's 7 of them, I think. Afghanistan, right? He gets every war he ever wants. And by the way, now he's heating up. He's heating up because he's saying, well, once you deal with Iran, there's Pakistan is dangerous. That's what he's doing. He's doing it right now. That's absolutely true. That's exactly what he's doing. He's quoted saying that. So now you're going to go nuclear nation versus nuclear nation. That's a little different. And Pakistan does have a delivery system that could easily reach Israel. And I believe can reach the United States also. These are not dumb people. These are smart people. Okay, I despise their religion. I despise the Muslim religion. But I'm just telling you, it's certainly not a religion of peace. It is a religion of mass rape and criminality, and inbreeding and everything else that it does, and other sort of breeding that I won't get into right now. Aaron just gave you an illustration right there. But anyway, there's bah, and there's some other animal noises also that we could use. But anyway, beyond that. But anyway, I digress. So lo and behold, if Trump is doing as Alex Jones says, and I hope Alex Jones is right. I love Alex Jones. He's my favorite commentator. Him and Bannon are my favorites. I hope he's right. And if he's right, I'll come on the podcast and do what nobody else does and say that I was wrong. I hope that's what's happening. We'll never know that, though, but it's kind of strange that nothing has been revealed. And lo and behold, the day before Netanyahu lands, which is tomorrow, there is no Epstein client list anymore. It's almost as if Mossad was behind the entire Epstein operation, along with MI6, the CIA, and probably Russia also, and numerous others who are willing. It's this James Bond episode. Who's ever willing to pay somebody to manipulate powerful people? Why would you have to adhere to a country? Why would you have to be a patriot to any country? Why wouldn't you just be a mercenary for any country? If you're going to honeypot, some American official, then the Russians hire you. And vice versa, and on and on and on you could go. It's kind of strange, though. Suddenly, the client list is no longer even in existence. I mean, again, Kash Patel himself said in every single interview prior to being FBI director that there was a client list. With emphatic fervency that there was a client list, and why in the world has it not been released? And now there is none? Let's go to the next one. Robbie Starbuck tweet. So Pam Bondi said the Epstein client list was on her desk. Don't worry, we have the video. On her desk to review for the release to the public just a few months ago. Aaron, you got that list?
No.
Okay, but she said it was available. This was a few months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the DOJ, it's weird too. I mean, I just wonder how, if it was me and I was trying to pull something off like this, people would be on my rear end every single day. Every day. I wonder just how these people get away with it. You know why they get away with it? There's no media. Now the DOJ she leads claims that there's no Epstein client list at all. Sorry, but this is unacceptable. Go to the next one for me. Robbie Starbrook video off of this tweet. Here she is saying it. Play it for me.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
So off on my dates when it comes to Netanyahu. Netanyahu visited today, you said, Aaron?
Yeah. Yep.
So today, and that's where I saw that he had nominated Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize for bombing the living crap out of Iran. That's what you get for a Nobel Peace Prize now means a surgical strike. Fake MAGA, there he is. Fake MAGA. There's Tommy's fake MAGA. He doesn't agree with Trump. Well, you didn't agree with him on Operation Warp Speed. Fake MAGA, fake MAGA. I'm just curious too. How many of you all that lob fake MAGA at me stood on a street corner for Trump waving a sign? Like I have. Have you been to a Trump rally like I have? I'm just curious. How many of you stand in front of thousands of people like I have and espouse to vote for Donald Trump from a church pulpit? I'm just curious. I'll add that all up. 0. There you go. 0. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Fake MAGA. There's the fake MAGA. I'm just curious. How many of you have done any of those things? None. You just sit there behind a keyboard. And again, I'm not talking about whether you're for or against the Iranian raid, of which Donald Trump's just been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. So the qualifications for Nobel Peace Prizes sure has changed. Yeah. I thought it had to do with peace. I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Apparently not.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess the rules have changed to the Nobel Warmonger Prize. I guess that's what it is, right? The Nobel, let's strike an enemy who's never hurt an American ever. You can say Iranians through their proxies have, but I'm just curious, how many Iranians have raided the United States and done surgical strikes? It was a surgical strike, you fake MAGA. That's what you're a fake MAGA. That's who you are. It was a surgical strike. It wasn't an act of war. Oh, yeah, let's do a surgical strike on your house. And will you call it an act of war then? How about a bunker buster on your home? And then it won't be an act of war? You'd be coming out with your sawed-off shotgun. I'm going to get him as a MAGA soldier. It's just absolutely nonsensical. And those exact same people who are against Donald Trump's Operation Warp Speed and are now against Pam Bondi, who's operating at the behest of Donald Trump. All the exact same people that were for the Iranian strike, that called everybody against the Iranian strike, that are now anti-Tucker Carlson, anti-Bannon, anti-Alex Jones, are all calling Pam Bondi a liar and are now qualifying to join our group as the fake MAGAs. And they don't see it. It's literally like preaching to most of Christianity who aren't Christians and refuse to accept that they aren't in fact Christians because they never stopped sinning. You know why? Because nobody told them to. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? How can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? How can they hear without someone preaching them? How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news, Romans 10, 14, and 15. Nobody's ever told them to turn from their sin. They just go to a church that says, I'm okay, you're okay, fresh starts and new beginnings, and we're all saved. No, you're not. People just don't honestly look at themselves in their own galactic levels of hypocrisy. You can be real MAGA if you are against Pam Bondi, but you can't be real MAGA if you're against striking Iran for no reason. At the request of Benjamin Netanyahu, and you do it again. Trillions of dollars lost in Iraq and Afghanistan at the request of Benjamin Netanyahu for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. People say Iran has killed Americans. They've killed Americans through their proxies, allegedly. But again, their proxies were actually formed by us, by MI6 and the CIA. Not MI6, Mossad and the CIA. I can't say the CIA, but Mossad for sure created Hamas. They're the ones who created it. It's like us backing the Contras and then saying, oh, we're going to attack the Contras. That's how it is. It's not black hats versus white hats. It's all about expediency and profit for an individuals. That's what life is all about. Out of the 535 people on Capitol Hill between the Senate and the House, there's maybe 10 or 12 good people. That is it. That is it. All right, let's go to the next one. Tom Renz tweet. Breaking. Patel, Bongino, and Bondi sold out to child rapist. And an absolutely stunning example of what can only be deemed selling out. So I guess Aaron put Tom Renz down as fake MAGA now.
Yep,
you know, I mean, an absolute anti-vaccine warrior, conservative, I mean, litigator, lawyer. Everybody lines up to see him. But now I'm going to deem it. He's been deemed fake MAGA.
Check.
There you go. Because he refuses to sycophantically, if you're going to be MAGA, you got to sycophantically follow Donald Trump no matter what. Donald Trump turns pro-choice, you got to follow him. You know, Donald Trump turns pro-LGBTQ and wants men and women's restrooms. Suddenly it becomes right. That's being MAGA. Sycophantically following a human being. That's being MAGA. When it's the absolute antithesis of Make America Great Again. In an absolutely stunning example of what can only be deemed selling out, Bondi and crew are now claiming that Epstein was a suicide and there was no list or blackmail. That's the other thing, too. I haven't illuminated whatsoever because they put out no evidence. They're also claiming that Epstein was never leveraged or leveraging. How do they know? Oh, they read James Dennehy's report. They've read Maureen Comey's reports. February 2025, when Bondi stated, does anyone remember February 2025 when Bondi stated on Fox News that an alleged Epstein client list was on her desk? So what happened? So she was either lying then, because right now, get this now, February of 2025, she says, the Epstein client list is on my desk. I am looking at it. And now says it doesn't exist. So which one's the lie? Because one of them is. One of them is, and nobody holds her accountable. But because if you do, you're going to be deemed what, Aaron?
Fake MAGA.
Fake MAGA. Go ahead, label me with it. I relish in it. I bathe in it. Tom, you're going to lose your entire following. Don't care. Brent and Aaron know what I'm about to say. I'll just move to the side of a mountain and live alone.
Yep.
The world is better off with me living alone anyway. It really is. The world is a better place with me living alone and isolated. It really is. The world actually goes up a notch if I have no impact on the world.
That's not true.
Except the church.
Brent's defending the church. But I mean, I'm just telling you, I don't care. People think I care. I don't care. I'm just telling you. April through May 2025, she claimed via hidden camera, the OMG media, that and White House remarks that the FBI was reviewing tens of thousands of videos, purportedly showing Epstein with minors, implying possible blackmail material, though no client names were tied to those videos, although you can see the clients on the videos. So you can't, the most illustrious law enforcement agency on the planet, which by the way are an FBI agent couldn't handle a domestic dispute if their life depended on it. They're useless. They really are. They're useless social worker lawyers. That's who they are. They don't know how to handle police calls. They don't, unless they actually came from law enforcement, which most of them didn't, because they're DEI hires also. Most of them are DEI hires. They're brainless wonders. They have no idea how to handle cop calls. You ever wonder why FBI's lose every gun battle they're ever in? Because you know why? I'm going to sum it up for you. This is deep. They suck. That's why. They do. They suck. They tactically suck because they don't know how to handle police cars. I mean, everybody considers it is a great accomplishment to go to the FBI Academy. Why? So you can suck too? Because they suck. They do. They suck. You ever watch their tactics? They suck. They're not good. And all of their weaponry is old. I'm surprised they don't still have revolvers.
100% right.
Yeah, see, that's another cop talking. 100% right. They suck. They do. They have no officer safety. They suck. You ever watch them walk up to a house? They suck. Unbelievable. April, May 2025, she claimed via hidden camera and White House remarks that the FBI was reviewing tens of thousands of videos reportedly showing Epstein with minors, implying possible blackmail material, though no client names were tied to those videos. The Epstein folder debacle, with the statement below where she references her co-conspirators. What were the co-conspirators in, if not the blackmail ring or client service? I guess child rape is only a problem if you are poor and unconnected. If we can't get justice for child rape, we shouldn't expect it for anything else at all. Go to the next one for me. A raw egg nationalist video. Here's Kash Patel again. We saw a little bit of this, but it's a more elongated video. Less than 2 years ago. Here's Kash Patel. Play it for me.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything, but how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress, and this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing.
Raise your hand if you missed that Kash Patel. I missed that Kash Patel. Anybody else but me? I'll raise 2 hands. I missed that Kash Patel. He gone. Remember, I love when he was coming in. I played the videos. Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
We were all excited. I thought this guy's a stone cold killer. No, he's a globalist. He's a globalist hack, bent over. He's not even an ankle grabber. Brent will love this part. He's not an ankle grabber. He's what I call a foot grabber, when an ankle's just not far enough. Just like every Ark Church pastor. Brent knows one of them. And by the way, I blame you for my blow up on the stage. That's all your fault on Sunday morning.
Hands on the floor.
Hands on the floor. Hands on the floor. Hands on the floor. What you gonna do with your hands on the floor? All right, Ian Yeager video. So here's Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi lied directly to the American people. Here, Jesse Waters, play for him.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah, what you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well, we'll
along
look for
with his
that.
co-defendant.
Absolutely, and he had help. That's for
He
sure.
sure did.
First of all, it's co-defendants, not co-defendant. There's plenty of co-defendants out there. There's plenty of people that participate. Prince Andrew, of course, Billy Clinton. So she said right there, flight logs and names. And Aaron, can you get those out?
Let me see. No.
Yeah,
no.
Send over the tweets.
Okay. Yeah.
Put them onto the show. We'll put them out right now.
Yeah. None.
This was months ago. Where are they at? And it never held accountable? Oh, wait. If I hold her accountable, then what am I, Aaron? Fake magger.
Yep.
I'm a fake MAGA guy.
Oh, I found a tweet. Here you go. There you go.
There it is. Aaron's got the tweets.
There it is.
There's the release. There's the flight
list.
log. There's the flight log. There's the names. Those are the things that she was going to release. Quote, probably tomorrow.
Yeah, there it is.
But if I dare speak against the Trump administration, I'm fake MAGA. You want to see a fake MAGA whore? I'll show you a pic. I'll show you a video right here. Here's DC Drano. He's another one. He went out there again. It has nothing to do. Can you just side-by-side that? You just run it. See, remember this? This was her release. There's the binder. There's DC Drano, another whore. There he is. Now, DC Drano, you're like, Tom, he's a good conservative, pro-MAGA. Yeah, you know what? He was one of those guys out there calling people like me fake MAGA. That's why I didn't follow him to begin with, but I just unfollowed people like that. I didn't follow anybody who's pro-Israel strike. I don't know. I'm fine. Go ahead. We'll disagree. And we all just stay in MAGA together and just agree to disagree on one thing, but not these people. And I don't know about the chick there. I'm talking about DC Drano to the left. He's out there. If you don't trust your president, you're fake MAGA. Why don't, I mean, that's what he's going to say when the beast comes out of the sea. If you don't trust the beast, because everybody worships the beast.
Yep.
If you don't trust the beast and you're not pro-beast, yeah, you're right. And again, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is the beast. It's got nothing to do with that. That's not what I'm talking about. But that is the attitude of sycophantically following people is why everybody's eligible to end up with a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. It's because I'm going to be DC Drano. Look at me hold up my gay folder. I'm holding up a homosexual gay folder. Yee, look at this. Why don't you read the freaking thing, idiot? I knew everything in there, and I don't even know anything. Look at us, duh. Look at us worship Donald Trump. We're worshiping a man. Look at us worship a man. That's the antithesis of Make America Great Again. Look at him. He acts like he honestly looks like General Patton at the Battle of the Bulge. Like I've won. You won nothing, you freaking turd. You MAGA moron. Look at all these. I mean, you're so stupid. Did you even look at the thing? And Pam Bondi orchestrated the entire thing. Brent was talking about it. I wonder what it costs to make these binders. The government costs. I guarantee you. Government prices. Probably like $500,000 for these stupid binders. Who actually comes up with the idea to give out these binders? Who comes up with the idea to distribute binders to MAGA influencers? I mean, what a freaking joke. And the only reason why I'm picking on DC Drano is because, what's his name really? Rogan O'Hanley?
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I'm picking on him is because he decided that he's going to call people like me fake MAGA because I didn't agree with a military strike on a country that's no threat to us. And the reason, and you're not allowed to agree because Donald Trump is now doing what you oppose, but since Donald Trump is doing it, it's now right. So if suddenly all these people who are against like Diddy party, freakout parties, if Donald Trump was running the freakout party, he'd be fine, right? And by the way, I'm assuming DC Drano is anti-vax, so he must have been anti-Operation Warp Speed, which qualifies him to be fake MAGA like me. So I never understand. One thing I do not understand, I understand failure. I understand sin. I am chief among sinners. But one thing I don't understand is hypocrisy. It's outright hypocrisy and non-self-reflective hypocrisy, where you are calling one person exactly what you are. I will never get that. I honestly won't. All right, let's go to the next one. I could just stay on Rogan O'Hanley all day long. Speaking of old statements, anomaly video. Before he was in office, here's what Dan Bongino said. Play it for me.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it, but the short story, but not who they are. It says, you know, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that. That he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. But this person, who's a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right? Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So the point is, to sum it up, how do you know some of these countries aren't going to some of these power players who aren't making decisions? Because, hey, you wouldn't want this video out there, right? How do you know?
100%.
I mean,
let's get
Where's that guy at? He gone. You know what's amazing is what happens is that there is a MAGA industrial complex. You can if you want to go along to get along, you're going to have to say things that are absolutely not true. Like, you know, if you want to be a MAGA influencer, you want to be Trump Girl 78. And I don't get these people that they've tied their entire social media ecosystem in existence behind a man who's no longer going to be president 3.5 years from now. So you're going to have no career because you are, you know, Trump MAGA 78. And you follow 107,000 people and you have 108,000 people following you. So your whole career, whatever money that you squeeze out of Twitter or Rumble or wherever you get your money from, is going to be gone when Trump is no longer in office. Because J.D. Vance doesn't have, or whoever, whether it's Rubio, J.D. Vance, or whoever is the next president, isn't going to be Donald Trump, obviously. So what exactly is going to happen to your career? But my point was this. is that there is a whole ecosystem of making money there too. And do you think these people are legitimate conservatives? Do you think that they are people that would die for their beliefs? No, they're just seeing, you know what? Basically what they are is a MAGA hat salesman. There's money in it for them. And I'm not talking about Bongino because Bongino was conservative long before Trump came around. But Bongino's lost all credibility. I mean, it's over. I mean, he'll come back. He'll do a podcast. There'll be plenty of people watching him. It's just, it will happen. But he's lost all credibility. I mean, to go up there and say, I've seen the file. He committed suicide. I mean, we know we deleted 60 seconds off of the video. But other than that, you know what? I mean, what can happen in 60 seconds? Let me give you 10. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Do you see what can happen in 60 seconds? Lots. And we don't know, and the 60s, nobody came in and nobody came out. Well, that'd be perfect for somebody coming in and coming out, right? In 60 seconds. But don't worry, Dan Bongino's read the file written by James Donahue, who had to quit for suppressing evidence, for tampering with evidence. But I digress. But he believes his file all of a sudden. Just like all the Christians decided to believe the abortionists and close their churches and lock down their businesses because Anthony Fauci told them to. Oh, wait a minute. I guess you also disqualify as MAGA if you are anti-lockdown because Donald Trump was for lockdowns. Remember he went 15 days to flatten the curve. Then he went 30 days to flatten the curve. Then he went 60 days to flatten the curve. Remember that? So I guess if you were against that, you're fake MAGA like me, right? Or is it just situationally how it suits you? Whenever you go against Trump, it doesn't qualify as fake MAGA, but whenever I do, it does. Sounds like our current judicial system. So you are just like a Democrat. You have situational ethics. Let me show you this. There's one of them right here. I unfollowed this guy, Gunther Eagleman. The reason why? Because he was one of them. You're fake MAGA because you didn't. This isn't a military strike. This is a precision strike. Right now, my trust in the government's at 0. Aaron, what is he? What is he? Fake
MAGA.
Fake MAGA.
Yeah.
You don't believe in the government. Who runs the government? Donald J. Trump.
Yep.
So now he's me. But he doesn't consider himself to be me. So he still gets to be real MAGA, even though he disagrees with Donald Trump, which qualifies as fake MAGA, but he still gets to be real MAGA.
Right.
You know what that's called? Hypocrisy and sycophantical idolatry. Right now, my trust in government is 0. On my desk, trunk full. Oh, you're speaking against Trump, Gunther. And by the way, he's got an excellent account. He really does. Got an excellent account, puts out good stuff. He really does. Look at all the views, 109 million, big account. But he's a neocon, MAGA moron who follows John Bolton around. I mean, he's got, I want to say gross things. I'm not going to get into something gross. It has to do with holding things, but I'm not going to say it. But anyway.
Ankles?
Yeah, I can still I can still default to ankles, but
it's worse than ankles.
It's ankles. Yeah, it's worse than that. But anyway. He's like History of the World, like Piss Boy in History of the World. Ever watch that? Piss Boy goes around. He's like John Bolton's Piss Boy. Everybody. They're like days. They got a guy running around the room with all the elites, and they go, "Oh, Piss Boy!" And you got to go in and hold the pot in your hands, and like people are shaking it off. You're like, "That's Gunther Eagleman." I mean, it really is. That's what Gunther Eagleman is.
Gunther.
He's Piss Boy.
Come here, Gunther.
Yeah, I mean, now suddenly you can speak. If I say something, then I'm fake MAGA. But now you are against Donald Trump's DOJ, Pam Bondi, handpicked as the Attorney General by Donald J. Trump. You are speaking out against her. You said your trust in government 0. On my desk, says Pam Bondi. Truck is full, says Pam Bondi. And you are, and so now you know all of that was lies, so you are against it. But doesn't that now make you fake MAGA, Gunther? Please forward this to them. Go ahead, cut it, splice it, forward it to them. I don't care. The Tom Hill denounce you. Don't care. I don't care what Gunther Eagleman thinks. He has no moral compass whatsoever. Calls me fake MAGA, not personally, but calls people like me fake MAGA, but he himself is now qualifies as fake MAGA, but he's not fake MAGA. He's still real MAGA, even though he qualifies as fake MAGA because he's against Donald Trump. You little piss boy. Why don't you just go why don't you go be a piss boy in the White House? J.D. Vance. Oh, piss boy. You can run in there with your pot. Go to the next one for me. Here's another one that I unfollowed because she was doing the same thing. Insurrection Barbie. You're fake MAGA. People like you are fake MAGA. I'm not saying we need to move on from Epstein. Oh, there it is. There's another political whore was all for getting the Epstein files out, exposing Epstein. What about all the victims? What about all the rape victims? Insurrection Barbie, you're obviously a woman. What about all the rape victims? You don't care about them either? Because they're out there. None of them have received any sort of justice at all. Ghislaine Maxwell didn't rape them. Men did. Men raped them, Insurrection Barbie. But now, suddenly, I'm not saying we need to move on from Epstein, which is basically saying you want to move on from Epstein without saying you want to move on from Epstein. I want to see accountability for everything. What I'm saying is that Epstein is not the end-all, be-all, defining. Here she is. Let's just sycophantically follow Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wants to expose Epstein, then Insurrection Barbie will dutifully bend over and become whatever Donald Trump wants her to be. If Donald Trump doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. If Donald Trump does want to do it, then she wants to do it.
Yep.
You know what you are? You're just a puppet with Donald Trump's hand up your anal puppet chute. That's what you are. What I'm saying is that Epstein is not the end-all, be-all, suddenly, all-defining moment of the Trump presidency. Like people, you mean Donald Trump, it has nothing to do with Epstein. It has to do with, you said you're going to expose it. Patel said he was. Bongino said he was. Bondi said he was. She was. And they're not doing it, so they're not keeping their word. That is important. Like people on here are making it out to be. So you can, but it was a defining moment if I was against the strike in Iran, against a country who's no threat to America. That was a defining moment, but this is not a defining moment. You are absolutely sentenced to be fake MAGA if you are against a surgical strike to Iran. But the DOJ bold-faced lying of the right there on the desk. The trunk is full. The semi is full. I'm releasing the names and the flight logs tomorrow. Means nothing to Insurrection Barbie. See, this is my war against institutional establishment MAGA. Because you can, if you become like a Democrat for MAGA, you're still a Democrat. If you are sycophantically espousing any party line when the party is wrong and you call it right out of Isaiah 5:20 and 21, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. If you, because the party wants you to say something that is wrong is right, you do it. How are you any different than Jasmine Crockett? But for the right. And she's institutional MAGA, just like institutional Republicans, establishment Republicans. They will say anything, whether it's Willard Romney, whether it's Bolton, whether it's Mark Levin, institutionalized establishment, neocon, MAGA morons. They will say anything to keep the money train going. Because if I say something against MAGA, then I'm going to lose viewers. So what are you? A whore. That's what you are. You're a whore. Some pastors are the same way. They'll say anything to keep people in the building. I'll say anything. I'm not really Calvinist, but you know what? I'm going to tell people once saved, always saved, because I don't want to keep people in the seats. You're a whore. Absolute whore. You knew masking was a joke, but you espoused it anyway because you didn't want to piss off people in your congregation. You're a whore. You're a whore. Just accept it, confess it, and repent of it. It's not the reason why I would support President Trump or not support President Trump. Oh, of course not. You'll support him no matter what he does because there's money in it for you. It's important, but so is 100,000 other things. Oh, really? Good. I disagree with one out of the 100,000 things, and according to Insurrection Barbie, that disqualified me from being MAGA. You're like, Tom, get past it. No, I'm not getting past nonsensical bullcrap. You're going to be called to task. I mean, listen, this is not a huge podcast. I don't know. There's probably a couple thousand people end up seeing this. So, I mean, but Insurrection Barbie's got, hundreds of thousands of followers. What I'm saying is that perspective, nuance, patience. She didn't have that 2 weeks ago. And common sense need to make oh, really? What about you saying that everybody was fake MAGA? How was that nuance, patience, and common sense? Here's the chief of all of the accusers, all the people that are accusing other people who are part of the MAGA movement of being fake MAGA. Here's the chief of them all, Laura Loomer. Here she is. I told you Bondi was a liar. Aaron, what does that qualifier as? Fake?
Yeah, she's fake MAGA.
Fake MAGA.
Yeah.
You're against Donald Trump. You're fake. You're fake MAGA. She was the one. She says, she would put up, I'm making screenshots of all that you're saying, and I'm sending it to Donald Trump. She put that out on social media.
Yeah.
Because you're against the Israel strike. But now she says that Donald Trump's hand-picked AG is a liar, therefore making Donald Trump a liar. But Aaron, she doesn't qualify as fake MAGA.
Right.
I never called anybody a liar in the Trump administration.
It's true.
For the Iranian strike. But yet I qualify as fake MAGA, according to her.
Crazy.
You're like, Tom, make that make sense. That's how people are. People equivocate. People are delusional. People don't apply their own principles to themselves at all because they actually have none. People like Laura Loomer. Exactly like that. All right, let's go to the next one. Change the subject. Carly Bonet video. Everybody knew Lee Harvey Oswald was a communist. CIA admits now shadowy officer monitored Oswald before JFK assassination. Play it for me.
Attention. Everyone knew Lee Harvey Oswald as a communist. And the question was, well, did the CIA have anything to do with the student group? And the CIA the entire time said, oh, no, we had nothing to do with this. We didn't know anything about it. Turns out they did. George Joannides, the Miami-based operative or officer who was the branch chief or assistant branch chief specializing in psychological warfare, I'm not making this up, was the guy who ran this group and went by the codename Howard. When then asked for years who Howard was, George Joannides had been appointed by the CIA to be a liaison with the House Investigative Committee 15 years after the assassination. And Joannides told all the investigators from the House Committee, I have no idea who Howard is. We have no record on him. Well, that's because Joannides himself was Howard. He was then given an award for helping obfuscate with Congress and lying to Congress about his involvement. The CIA also lied about that as well. And in 1991, he passed away. But as a result of that dogged work by Jefferson Morley, trying to unearth those files, we now know as a result of Thursday's release that Joannides was indeed Howard, and he did lead that group, and that's what the records show.
So the CIA can boldface lie to our face since, what, 1963? But what we have to believe what the FBI says about Epstein. Here is actually a line-by-line. Follow this account on Twitter, MJ Truth Ultra tweet. Here it is, line by line. Here's what the CIA did with the assassination of JFK. The CIA just admitted that an agent specializing in psychological warfare, George, what do you think, Aaron? I can't remember.
Joannides?
Joannides. That's what it is. Joannides. George Joannides, good luck with me remembering that, ran an operation that was in contact with Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination, just like every time with all of these mass shootings. The FBI knows about them. Everybody knows about them inside the government. The disclosure was hidden within a batch of 40 documents concerning Officer George Joannides. Indicates the CIA lied for decades about his role in the Kennedy case before and after the assassination. The key document, a January 17, 1963 CIA memo showing Joannides was directed to have an alias and fake driver's license bearing the name Howard Gebler. Until today, the CIA had denied that Joannides was known as Howard. The case officer name for the CIA contact who worked with activists from an anti-communist group opposed to Cuban dictator Fidel Castro, called the Cuban Student Directorate. Okay, leave this up. Does everybody see this now? I mean, this is every color revolution you've ever seen. The CIA secretes this guy, George Joannides, into this anti-communist group. They're talking to him under his name that the CIA gave him and then denied that they ever knew him. And he's a CIA agent. Until today, the CIA has denied that Joannides was known as Howard. That's the name they gave him. The case officer named for the CIA contact who worked with activists from the anti-communist group opposed to Cuban dictator Fidel Castro, called the Cuban Student Directorate. For decades, the CIA also falsely said it had nothing to do with the student group, which they had an asset in, not even an asset, an agent in, which was instrumental in having Oswald's pro-Castro stances published soon after the shooting. Sounds like Ruby Ridge, doesn't it? You instigate the crime yourself. You instigate people to commit crimes. Now, with Ruby Ridge, they instigated the crime and then arrested the perpetrator, just like they did on 1/6. Here, they instigated the assassination. It's just like with the Whitner kidnapping hoax, where 12 out of the 18 defendants in that case, you want to call them defendants, perpetrators in that case, 12 out of the 18 were FBI assets or FBI agents. 12 out of the 18. Same thing here. The pro-Castro group wanting to instigating this pro-Castro group, who, and I'm sure that Lee Harvey Oswald was either a part of that or was influenced by it, whatever it may be. And it gets into how many shooters. I don't believe he was the sole shooter or any of that stuff, but he may have been a shooter, or he may have just been the patsy. Maybe Crooks is the patsy. How do you know whether Crooks was there? How do we really know Crooks was actually the shooter? Because they burned up the body as soon as they could.
Yep.
I mean, but everyone's going to believe the FBI. I know nobody watching this believes the FBI. I'm just telling you, everyone's going to believe the FBI that there is no Epstein client list. I wanted to get to the flood stuff in Texas. Bottom line with the flood stuff in Texas, every report that you're seeing where they're saying that, there was that Trump defunded the National Weather Service, so there was no alerts. Incorrect. There was. I got the list right here. There was the San Angelo office, which covers that area of Texas, the hill country of Texas, which floods frequently, by the way. But so many people have moved there, they don't understand. They blow off the weather alerts. And by the way, I'm guilty of blowing off weather alerts. I never understood. I never understood surge, ever. I lived in Florida my whole life. I blew off every surge report I've ever seen. And then I saw Helene. And then I learned about surge. As I saw it coming down my road, like a river. I'm like, holy crap, never seen that before. Okay, you learn the hard way. And that's not speaking ill of the 79 people that died in this. It's a horrendous tragedy. But the lies from Rosie O'Donnell and the rest saying that Trump's defunding of the National Weather Service, the only thing he defunded from the National Weather Service was boys and women's bathrooms. That's been defunded. The training to put boys in women's bathrooms. That's all that's been defunded. Not one meteorologist, not one person that had any impact on the storm. From Nick Sorda, the San Angelo office, which covers the hill country of Texas, was fully staffed with 12 forecast meteorologists. And the San Antonio office was the other one, right, that also deals with the area, was operating with 11 forecasters. And there was a ton of alerts. Alex Jones's, as of July 7th, Aaron just sent me this, 2025, at least 104 people have now been confirmed dead. 104, 79 last I saw. So it's a horrendous tragedy, but so many people have moved into that area and they don't know. If you live there, like Alex Jones, he was supposed to go to the Willie Nelson concert. And he canceled because he said it's going to be flooding in that area. He knew. Nobody knew it was going to be this bad. But there's been so many people have moved into that area, and everyone gets comfortable, and they're like, you know what? I've seen these surge warnings all the time, harkening back to Florida. Never happens, and then you see it coming down your road. It's a horrendous tragedy, but it had nothing to do with Donald Trump. And here's one other thing. I shouldn't make one other thing on this. There was allegedly cloud seeding prior to the storm.
Oh.
Which has been confessed to before by the United States Air Force. They came and apologized to Texas for causing a storm that caused mass destruction. There was allegedly cloud seeding before the storm. All right, but anyway, Rumble Rants tonight. Nate, only one. Nate Dad won. Thank you so much. $50. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for everybody for watching tonight. Love you. Appreciate you. Even if we don't agree, still love you. Still appreciate you. But anyway, stick around for the post game. It's awesome. It's all uplifting. All the negative stuff's done for the night. Until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. But anyway, love you guys. Appreciate you. Stick around for the post game. See you tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. God bless you. The Spirit of God is controversial. The Spirit of God does not go along to get along. The Spirit of God is not concerned about offending people. The Spirit of God preaches that which he has heard, John 16:13, which is the Word of God. Do you hear this though? To you by the Holy Spirit sent from heaven, things which angels desire to look into. Your inheritance and your reward, your portion is the Holy Ghost that even the angels don't have.
Have you ever had a question you were too afraid to ask? Or a thought you knew everyone was thinking but no one dared to say out loud? Welcome to the Hope Hotline, where nothing's off limits and we say what others won't. Real talk, raw truth, your questions finally answered.
Thanks for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you will get a free TLP koozie. Enjoy your favorite cold drink while tuning in to our latest takes on current events. Your support keeps us going. Donate now to claim yours.
The Kyle Rittenhouse story. I hated that kid. The corporate media told me he was a white supremacist who didn't live in that community. He traveled across state lines with guns to shoot 3 black people at a Black Lives Matter rally, and I hated him. And then I watched the trial, and it turns out he did live in that community. He didn't travel across state lines with guns, and he didn't shoot 3 black people. He shot 3 white people, and I was like...
Race was a major theme in the U.S. media commentary, although Rittenhouse and those he shot were white.
White?
Isn't that wild? Not only were they white, like these guys were like career criminals. One guy was a pedophile.
Well, the one guy pulled a gun on him?
Yeah.
And
The media just fucked that kid, and he won.
Oh! What? Oh! Holy crap.
300,000 people have already died from just this cutoff, this hard cut of USAID.
This is the problem. The problem is it was a money laundering operation. It was a money laundering operation. There was no oversight. For sure, billions of dollars are missing. In fact, trillions that are unaccounted for, that were sent off into various... They don't even know where because there's no receipts.
You've all been puppets in a globalist game, using your power to fleece and shame as you get paid. Who would have believed it? Cultural icons we once adored, now we see clearly you're just political whores. The worst kind of deceivers, empty shells. It was never us you were fighting for. We were fooled, now we see.
I think it's one man's war, really.
I got this message this morning from Bono. And most of us, we're always, whether we're in Ireland or here or whatever it is, Bono has been a very Irish part of our lives. Ireland's sorrow and pain is now the Ukraine, and St. Patrick's name is now Zelensky. About that.
also a part of marginalized groups that have been historically oppressed, and it's like
keep on raising awareness and like slaying. Like, I hope that like we reach more equity soon.
We actually have a equity commitment form. You can actually give up your spot at university for a member of the Tongva tribe. Is this something that you'd be willing to do for this underrepresented, underprivileged community?
Honestly, no, but I hope somebody else does. That's great.
Not currently. I would need to think about it more.
I personally don't view myself as privileged. I don't think I would be willing to give up my spot at UCLA. I think that my ethnicity's representation is also important. I'm a black student.
Who should we find to give up their spot?
That's a tough question. Anybody that is willing and feels that they're represented in the right way here.
You know what I mean? I can't make a split-second decision.
Whatever has to be done in the world, I want it done, but I want it done by somebody else. I'm with him.
Let's hope I can make these corners.